Dogs, like these Tosas engaged in a ceremonial dogfight in Japan, arouse strong emotions. The samurai, Japan's elite warlords, used to own Tosa dogs, and the elaborate decoration of Tosa transporters shows the extraordinarily high esteem in which the dogs have long been held. Just as their Tosas meant power to the samurai, dogs are full of symbolic and spiritual meaning for people throughout time. Our best friend has been vilified and deified, but never ignored. Big and aggressive Tosa dogs have become a symbol of a different kind of power in modern Japan. In the remote prefecture of Tosa in southwestern Japan, 85-pound dogs take their trainers for a morning walk. Local dogs were crossbred with European bulldogs and mastiffs, brought to Japan by 19th century merchants and missionaries. The result was the modern Tosa, the Mike Tyson of the dog world. Now a popular local symbol. The wearing of ceremonial robes that mark championship status guarantees a Tosa film star treatment from invited paparazzi. As well as being favoured pets of the samurai warrior class, later, during the Second World War, Tosas were taken on tours of the front lines to inspire Japanese soldiers with their fighting spirit. But wartime food shortages made ownership of such big dogs unpatriotic. By 1945, there were only 10 Tosas left. After the war, Tosas were adopted by Japan's Yakuza gangsters. One Tosa official is Nobuharu Hamano, boss of the powerful Iseno gang. Yakuza exploit the Tosa's association with the samurai. The hidden boardroom at their suburban Tokyo headquarters is dominated by samurai artifacts. Hamano and his boys meet to plan a welcoming party for a member returning after a long jail sentence.
Of course, if we fight, we will be caught. I think that one of the attractions of Tosa dog fighting for the spectator is that it relieves stress. Although we don't fight ourselves, our dogs fight for us instead, and we get rid of our stress by seeing the dogs fight.
Kokuryu is the up-and-coming star of Mr. Hamano's fighting kennels. Just as his owner lives on a knife edge of legality, so Tosa fights are banned in many parts of Japan. But Kokuryu is in intensive training for tomorrow's big fight. Dressed in his champion's robes from last year's successful fights, Iseno is Mr. Hamano's favorite dog. Like many of the top Yakuza dogs he'll face in combat, Iseno is named after his owner's mob. Tomorrow, Iseno will be defending Mr. Hamano's honor.
Because this dog was born in my house, it became especially dear to me. Often, dogs which become champions are bought from the other people. This one, it goes in for tournament many times. We will train it hard so that it can fight for another few years.
What does Tosa fighting mean to you?
I do it to satisfy a sort of male fantasy.
In the equally enclosed world of the Yakuza, dedication to dogs is just as intense. As well as 20 fighting Tosas, Hamano has a large canine collection, including a pair of rare white German shepherds and 6 wolves.
I used to take part in American Pit Bull Terrier dog fighting. The difference with the Tosa is that the Tosa tournament is very impressive and they spend a lot of money. But American Pit Bull Terrier fights are modest. They don't spend much money. So I lost interest and I changed to the Tosa dogs.
To the envy of his mates, Iseno is again chosen to display his boss's power for today's big match. This gleaming vehicle is a Tosa transporter, custom built for Mr. Hamano's dogs. Resources are not a problem.
I suppose that I might have spent about 400 million yen on Tosas for 2 tournaments. That's about 2 million pounds. For one tournament, it needs more than 100 million yen. Yes, I feel nervous. Even those who have done this for years also feel nervous before their dogs are in the fight. They tremble with excitement.
Unlike any scene from The Godfather, this is for real. Convoys of Mercedes, not to be touched by a speck of dust. Tinted windows, gun holsters at the ready. This is all part of the ritual. This meeting is in a secluded forest just north of Tokyo.
From now on, in order to survive, we must be prepared to do anything. Like the mafia in America, such as secret assassinations, underground. Everyone is planning to do this kind of thing. Because the police are becoming stricter, even though the Yakuza operate in organizations, they pretend not to do so and go underground doing absolutely anything, even killing.
Kokuryu, Mr. Hamano's black Tosa, is a rising star, and his moment has come to settle his master's old scores. Just as the Yakuza live according to an elaborate code of honor, so do their dogs. For example, a fight is stopped and a dog loses if it barks, or if it takes 3 steps away from its opponent. A fight is declared a draw if one dog acts as if to copulate with the other. The idea of dogfights may seem horrific, but to Tosa fans, the fights are a great day out for the family. Mr. Hamano's wife faithfully follows the progress of Kokuryu. The dog was, after all, her anniversary gift to her husband. So far, she hasn't been disappointed. Kokuryu has won all the fights he's entered. The dog's code of honor seems to stay with them. After the fight is broken up, 180 pounds of aggressive, hyped-up Tosa, despite being dragged by their tails, seem ready to accept their lot gracefully and not turn on their human handlers. There is always a vet in attendance to try to make sure the dogs will live to fight another day.
I don't think it's cruel. Tosas fight with pleasure. As you've seen today, they fought wagging their tails, didn't they? If they are defeated, they don't go home. I don't think it's cruel, because we don't let them fight to the end. There is a time limit.
I suppose men have a lot of amusement. For my part, I feel as if I've given him an expensive toy, and I also enjoy it.
Iseno was last year's heavyweight champion. But how do old Tosas go out with their head held high? Today he's taking part in a short exhibition bout. But like a Muhammad Ali on his last legs, it's an undignified struggle. The mind might be willing, but is the body up to it? A defeated champion is no longer such a matter for pride. The gladiators of the Yakuza can find their godlike status disappearing in a matter of minutes. During the fight, Iseno has lost a front tooth. Today was Iseno's last fight. He has been knocked off his pedestal.